Greetings, blessings, brothers and sisters. It's me, Lori Ann Spagna, here with you today to chat briefly about your divine virtues. I want to talk about the virtues today because part of our journey of awakening, of accelerating, of progressing as we're going through this evolutionary process is to cultivate divine virtues. And many of us don't fully know what those are. And also what happens a lot of times is when I'm working with people, whether it's my students or my clients, my colleagues, my friends, who are asking me for support and assistance in clearing or resolving any of their blocks or whatever it is that's standing in their way from them doing and being and achieving what they're really here to bring forward. Well, what happens is that sometimes is that they haven't cultivated a divine virtue that they need to really access and awaken a gift, some kind of gift. So let's say, for example, you want to be able to communicate with animals. Let's say there are certain virtues you need, really virtues that you need to develop to really truly communicate telepathically with animals. Let's say you want to be a person who wants to activate DNA, or let's say you just want to be a healer of some kind. There are certain virtues you need to develop in order to really be a gifted healer. Virtues are not necessarily something that we learn in our physical world, because in the physical 3D world, that third dimensional physical world that we've been living in, there's a lot of non-virtuous behavior. There's things like, look at the corruption in the government, the stealing, the lying, the cheating in the governmental leaders, most of whom were born during an era, we'll just link this into astrology, when the planet Pluto was in the house of Leo, which symbolizes the ultimate narcissist. So our societies have been run by these ultimate narcissists who don't care about anyone but themselves and are so good at masking it. They don't have these virtues developed. They are lacking in the virtues of true care, true compassion, true magnanimity, which is the ability to love all and accept all. True equanimity. Equanimity is a divine virtue. They don't care about equanimity. They're I, me, mine. So that's a good example, right, of our physical world. There's lying, there's cheating, there's stealing, there's rapists, there's child sex trafficking, there's pornography, there's the abuse of women and, minorities, and that, we're attempting to heal and resolve that on the physical world, but it's really not being fully addressed in an appropriate way, really, truly, because of course it's all energetics that need to be resolved. But regardless, these virtues, they just don't exist very much. There's jealousy, there's hatred, there's greed, extreme greed. These are not virtues. So we have to cultivate these virtues. And the way we cultivate them, because energetically, they're within us, all these virtues. They're coded into our dormant DNA. They are true to the original organic human design, our human, the real human, who is not corrupted by, we could say, negative alien agenda or false programming or artificial intelligence or just other forms of, this narcissistic way of being or programming that we've been living in. The true organic design for humans, we have these virtues. So they're within us, and they're certainly stored in our DNA too, so they can be activated there. However, we have to cultivate them through the way we be, through the way we behave, through choosing to behave and be that way. So, for example, divine forgiveness. Many humans are learning forgiveness in this lifetime, and that's a wonderful quality, right? We know that if we don't forgive, dis-ease can develop. For example, a lack of forgiveness can show up, for example, potentially as different forms of cancer, especially if it's a lack of forgiveness towards self. So we're learning forgiveness, like the gift of cancer in the physical world is forgiveness. Forgiveness is a tool, is a virtue that actually helps to heal and resolve cancer. Would you believe that? It's true in the non-physical. So once we learn and embody forgiveness, that's just one divine virtue, because once we learn and embody forgiveness, we don't even have to forgive anymore. We just are forgiveness. There's not, that's how the divine is, right? It doesn't have to forgive. It is forgiveness. There's no forgiveness needed. There's no forgiveness even required, because it just is. It just is. That's how we develop divine virtues. The divine virtue of self-trust, of truth, of authenticity, of sincerity, of integrity. Oh my goodness, our old physical world that we're birthing out of has no integrity. Look at these leaders, these narcissistic leaders, these corrupted government officials. They clearly, and I'm just pointing at them, I'm not making a bad guy. I'm sorry if it sounds that way. I'm showing old paradigm where we did not cultivate these virtues, where we did not utilize them, and where it was not demonstrated to us at our so-called authorities. They just don't have those. So I'm not trying to make them wrong or bad. I'm just using it as an example. We have to cultivate these virtues. Integrity is a huge one. If we want integrity in the world, we have to bring it into our physical form and behave in accordance with integrity, right? We have to develop these virtues, and we have to understand what they really mean. What does it mean? A lot of people don't even know what it means to have and to embody integrity, what it means to be able to trust yourself, to speak truthfully and authentically. And people don't feel safe. How do you feel safe to speak truthfully and authentically when the whole world tends to bash people when they say anything that they don't agree with, right? Because we're running these kinds of programs of argument and debate and right and wrong and good and bad. So it's so hard to speak. And then we go to jobs where you're not even allowed to speak truth, right? You have to be politically correct in the workspace. Like when I worked in the workspace in my career for my first 20 years out of college, my thyroid was so off. I was so overweight. My hair was falling out. I couldn't get to sleep at night. I couldn't wake up in the morning. And this was because my thyroid was off. Why? Because I wasn't safe to speak my truth in that environment. I had to heal my own thyroid. And I did, by the way, completely healed that with completely organic. I was on all those synthetic artificial drugs that the doctors gave to me, telling me I'd have to be on it for life. And then when I went through my own dark night of the soul and my own awakening journey, like I literally could not afford pharmaceutical drug insurance. I could not afford the drugs. So I lost everything. So I had to learn how to heal my own thyroid organically and naturally. And I did. And by the way, I haven't been on any pharmaceutical drugs for well over 20 or 25 years. I haven't needed them. I haven't required any of that but I was at one point on massive amounts of pharmaceutical drugs from well-meaning doctors at that time. So because I hadn't developed and cultivated my own inner healer, right? Once I did, all those things became a thing of the past. And this is possible for all of us, but we do have to cultivate these inner virtues, these inner abilities. So once I started to realize and learn how I could speak my truth authentically, clear this chakra center and resolve the issues that were blocking me in this throat chakra from being safe to speak truthfully and authentically and trusting myself, I was able to heal my own throat chakra. I've worked with heal my own thyroid, I should say. And I worked with many other people who I've worked with to heal this. In fact, one of my students who came to me, she worked with me in a package of 4 sessions, and one of her issues was thyroid issues. And we worked on that. And as she did her healing, and we did it together, and I also gave her through coaching, I gave her some very simple and easy assignments that she could work through on her own. She got spontaneous light language came through her song. So not only did she get the gift of healing her throat and her thyroid, but all this beautiful music, healing light language came through her, and she's playing with that now and utilizing it in her healing abilities. So this is the amazing stuff, right? But all of this comes through developing virtues, because our gifts come through as we become more virtuous, as we awaken these virtues that are within us. And yes, divine truth, divine authenticity, divine trust, self-trust, right? All of these, I call them divine because they're the gifts of the divine. They're virtues. They're within our DNA. they're available to us, and then we start behaving in accordance with them. Divine discernment. One of the healing videos on this channel, because I do healing videos on this channel based on your requests, is on divine discernment. So important at this time. We have to be able to discern light from dark, because we live in a dualistic reality. And there is dark stuff here that we could involve ourselves with if we choose it, but we could also get lied to or manipulated or deceived by it and falsified, make a mistake and go down that route. And then before we know it, we're sticking things in our bodies and eating things that aren't healthy for us and accepting things and ways of treatment and behaviors from others that just are not okay, that are not acceptable. So as we cultivate these divine virtues, that's what comes forward in the people around us, you see. So divine discernment, what are some of the divine harmony? Really, if you are a person like me, I truly value harmony, but our world is not set up for harmony. Our world is set up, just watch the, chronic negativity network, right? You know what that stands for. And just watch that negativity on, what we call the brainwashing of, the screen on TV every night. And that chronic negativity network is constantly feeding people with what we call fear porn to tell them to be afraid. And if you don't have divine discernment, you can't tell the difference, right? And then what they also do all the time is they put up multiple talking heads who are arguing and debating. This one's right, this one's right, this one's wrong, this one's wrong, this one's right, this one's wrong, this one's better, this one's worse. And so we get wired into that programming, and we don't even know what harmony feels like. Like, I love harmony. That's one of my favorite virtues, just being in harmony with nature. And by the way, when you cultivate divine harmony and the ability to live in harmony, the animals communicate with you so much more because they enjoy that harmonious kind of interaction, right? Understand, since we mentioned the animals, I'll just say this too. All of the animals on Earth, all of them, regardless of their species, are embodying various multiple virtues of these divine virtues. Why? They embody them because they anchor them into the physical world. They demonstrate them for us to learn and to see. So the most basic example, you probably heard me say it if you've listened to any of my classes or workshops before, is that the animals, the animals embody these virtues. For example, if you accidentally step on a dog's paw, or, if someone's really mean and they kick a dog, like, the dog doesn't have to learn forgiveness. The dog is like loving and forgiving the very next second. There's no forgiveness even needed there. They just are forgiveness, right? They just do love. Another great example is magnanimity. Magnanimity, like people who are still embodying a lot of those 3D virtues, non-virtues of like criticism and judgment. Magnanimity is really hard for them. They cannot yet imagine that it's possible to love that which they perceive to be unlovable. And yet some of those people are the same people who might go to church and they're told that God loves everyone. And I agree, God loves everyone and everything. There's no judgment. God does not judge. So how is it that, a human can't do that? We can do that. We have to cultivate these gifts of magnanimity, which is the ability to love that which we might perceive to be unlovable. Animals have it. They already have this. They can love. And this is a great example, right? You could bring an animal, many people do, into jails, right? With convicted felons and the worst criminals, and the animals love them. And they're part of their healing journey. And they help these criminals to heal. And they help these criminals to come into their hearts and to love and forgive themselves and be kinder. Like, it's amazing, right? So animals are a great example of magnanimity and that divine virtue. And there's so many amazing virtues. Of course, divine peace and divine freedom. We need more freedom on our planet because, of course, we can see how this old regime that is slowly collapsing has been attempting, steadfast to take away all of our freedoms. So divine freedom is something we cultivate. And once we cultivate it from within, nobody can take it from us. And our work world in the physical world, very often, our work world is demonstrating in some way this lack of freedom, this non-freedom. And you have to go to work and you basically have to get there on time. Like I remember I worked at one job once. Oh my God, it was so horrible. And the boss would have every morning an 8 a.m. meeting, and every morning at 8 a.m. And we were not allowed to be a minute late. And we would start our whole group meeting at 8 a.m. You couldn't be a minute late. You had to be completely buttoned up, completely professional, and completely ready. And I'm not a morning girl. I'm a moon girl. I like the night, and I tend to come, my energy builds throughout the day and keeps building. And so that wasn't very easy for me, but that was her way. And it was like this regiment. She had this very, Hitler-esque type of energy about her, sorry to say. And so my point is like, there was no freedom in that for me. There was no space for someone like me who gets better as the day goes on. She just wanted me to conform because that was her way and her belief system. And so this is like how we live in our world, right? And when we saw the ultimate revocation of freedoms in the year 2020 and 2021, ultimate revocations of freedoms, and many of those haven't been restored. This is part of how that old agenda, that whole dark agenda works, is it tries to take away and revoke freedoms little by little by little by little, so people don't even realize they're being taken away. And that's part of what we're seeing in the physical world right now in that whole dark agenda. But you understand, as you awaken and cultivate the divine virtue of divine freedom, you start expanding freedom in your world. You become more and more liberated from those kinds of experiences. And then, of course, you bring it forward into the world. So divine freedom is another one. So many virtues, more than I have time to go through all of them here. What I will say, let me just say a couple of other ones. Divine lovability, knowing that we are all lovable exactly the way we are, just because we exist. And being able to, this is part of magnanimity, but lovability, being able to love yourself with your flaws and all, with all your imperfections, recognizing that those are part of your own unique script, your own unique reason for being here, knowing that you're lovable just because you exist. That is a virtue. And knowing that about everyone else. You don't have to like everybody. You don't have to love everybody, but you have the ability to recognize, well, magnanimity will let you love everybody in a whole different way. But lovability, you recognize that everybody is inherently lovable, even if they are a narcissist trying to take over the world or create world wars to, kill out your brothers and sisters. Like, you understand that the lovability is still there. All beings are inherently lovable, and you start to align with that, and this creates these inner virtues start to radiate out from you into the world around you, and they start to affect other people. You see, again, the animals already have this. They've already anchored it into their bodies in the physical world. It's up to us to cultivate them. They are in our DNA. They can be awakened and activated, and then we utilize them. We become them. This is so brilliant, right? So now I want to hear from you. What virtues would you like to develop, activate, awaken, and cultivate from within you? What virtues? Put them in the comments below. Then I'll do videos on that, and I'll make sure I get them on the channel so that you can get all the healing that you're looking for and that you're desiring, because those virtues are dormant within you. Once they get activated, it becomes very easy to just start beginning to be that way. And of course, that's what we all want in our world. That's what we're looking for. So you bring them through, you start behaving, the world benefits. Put them in the comments below so we can do healing and downloads and activations and transmissions for you as you are awakening these virtues within you. What are the virtues that you want to see more of in the world? I look forward to seeing them in the comments below. And also, if you want more of this and more of where this came from, please head over to LoriSpagna.com. There's lots of great, magnificent gifts over there to help you on your awakening journey, including gifts to activate and awaken your DNA, where all the virtues are. There's a whole, on the website, by the way, at LoriSpagna.com, there is a whole DNA membership where you can activate your DNA. That's like the whole history of all the DNA activations I've ever done. That membership is so fabulous. The content is so progressed. You have to want to progress at an accelerated rate. If you're like me, you want that. You're a passionate seeker. That DNA package is awesome. And it does include activating and awakening these divine virtues that are in us. And you will love that. The other thing you can check out at lauriespagna.com is the Sacred Mentorship, where we work together, we do healing and mentorship together. We're activating and awakening these gifts, talents, and abilities. We're coming into alignment with the divine so that we're basically healing and resolving whatever it is that we need to heal and resolve within us so that we can have, be, do, resolve, achieve, experience whatever it is we're truly here for and that our soul is desiring for us, so that we can live the life we were meant to live and bring through into the world that which we are meant to bring through. So that is what I'm here for. And I love that. You will find that at lauriespagna.com. I'll just add one more thing. Once a year, I offer a sacred mentorship for the animals, where we work with the animals. We develop our abilities and talents and our gifts to communicate telepathically with animals, to do energy healing with animals, to receive the gifts that the animals are here sharing with us through their divine messages, through their divine wisdom, through their divine consciousness. They have so much to share with us and to teach us. They are not inferior to us by any stretch of the means. They speak a universal language of love. They are embodying all these amazing divine virtues. So once a year, I do offer a program designed to work. It's a sacred mentorship for progressive, spiritually minded animal lovers, hopefully like you. So if you head over to lauriespagna.com, you will see that there as well. And in the meantime, let me know how you liked this, share it and comment. I'd love to hear from you. And I look forward to our next interaction. I'm sending you so much love wherever you are and whatever you're doing. Namaste. Lots of love to you. Farewell for now. Bye-bye.